For me, this is a special episode. It's like a deluxe thing. It's like I've been further than I've been before for a podcast, and I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing this one. So I thought to mark the occasion, and I don't remember which episode it is. It's not like a special number episode or anything, but I thought to mark the occasion. I don't really like the video intro for the podcast. The Hot Potato Podcast. I feel like it's a bit rushed and a bit, I don't know, because I was moving house, I didn't really have time to fix it or go back to it. Now I've got this room and everything set up. I thought I would just refilm the putting in of the tape that I have at the beginning of these episodes of the podcast, just to give it a bit more professionalism at the beginning. But this is a great episode. This is a comedian in Edinburgh during the Fringe.
Sound like him. Alright, I'm just going to clap it and then clap it again and then just clap it one more time for this one and then we're all in sync. And now after we've been talking for like 10 minutes, I don't know, run out of things to say now. Just going to sip my coffee in silence.
Crap, go on with it.
Tell me about that song you would go. In fact, never mind.
I call it Open Sea. It's a sea shanty song. It's one in progress.
I hear it's a very complicated piece.
Yeah. I'd be like, was there not a guy that did a whole album and it was just silence for like 42 minutes?
Yeah, that was a pretty good idea. Especially when it comes on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favourite song.
You start hitting it thinking that. It's like the Tequila song. Have you seen the videos of people doing that for karaoke?
Yeah.
Only song in, only word in is like 4 minutes in.
The karaoke, and it's just like musical, and then you just tequila.
And then it's like, yeah, that's it, the song's over. Finished.
I love the thought of like 42 minutes of silence, but in the middle of it there's just a scream.
Is that right?
You don't know exactly what time the scream's at, but like...
There was, I think her name's Imelda May. She's an Irish singer, and one of her albums, it finishes at the end, so it's just silent for like 3 minutes. And then you get the clown music, Wow. So when I first listened to it, I'm walking back in the dark, and it gets to that bit, and it just goes dead silent.
You just totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it goes dead silent. First time hearing it, and then suddenly in darkness,
on that fucking staircase.
Thankfully, it wasn't around here. I'd have to move, but yeah. Who puts creepy circus music on the back of their CD and just?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do now on my next album.
Just have it burst in at random points where people are at least expecting it.
Yeah.
Or just conclude the CD and then just like have people like, but there's still 10 minutes left. What can be happening in this 10 minutes? And then
there's a YouTube video that's like 10 hours of silence, but it's interrupted occasionally by like air horns.
Wow.
It's just like, oh, there's an air horn at an hour and 30 minutes.
You know, there'll be people that use that to go to sleep too, and then it's the air horns that really make them get into that REM status of sleep. Yeah, just thought that was a weird way to finish.
Sleep app when you got fucking air horn.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I used to have like a sleep app like years ago, and it was the sound of like ocean waves, and it was super relaxing. But every 10 minutes, it would kind of, you just hear this little glitch where they'd only recorded 10 minutes, and then it was like, and then it went back, and every 10 minutes I'd be like, and I would wake up exhausted from having these 10-minute sleeps. Finally, somebody's made it now, so you can just put a YouTube video on for 10 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I needed that, you know.
My only issue with that is the loop function, or when it skips on to an hour like video and all that, because you can end up in a rabbit hole in YouTube where you've fallen asleep watching YouTube and you wake up and it's just some random video that you're like, what?
Why was I dreaming about toaster ovens? I've had that happen, and it's like, it was like I was walking around a utopia, like a futuristic utopia, and through the tannoys was like, our toaster ovens are 100% guaranteed to last. And it was just like this thing. I was like, God, what a beautiful world I was living in that dream. Why was I dreaming about that? Oh, yeah, the infomercial. I used to get erectile dysfunction all the time.
I mean, it is worse when you are living with a flatmate and then he's also listening to your YouTube videos coming on randomly during the night. And then you get a question in the morning going, Leigh, what were you watching last night? I'm like, I don't know.
Put them on full blast.
I stopped. Yeah, yeah. It would be like quiet enough that it'd just be my room. But yeah, I can't sleep in silence. I
can't.
I find that stranger than sleeping with like a massive, like, just loud noise in my ear.
Sometimes I fall asleep in the silence, and I'm like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what an unexpected treat.
My recent one just now is falling asleep during horror films in the cinema. That seems to be my go-to.
Depends what it is. What was the last one you fell asleep in?
So the Evil Dead, the one that just came out.
You fell asleep in it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
There was a few points beforehand which kind of helped to. It's just those seats are so comfy, and then you get into the kind of...
Was it a Cineworld or a Lux?
Cineworld.
Cineworld is surprisingly comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like those reclining red seats.
I saw... What made it odder was, I kind of saw the first 15, 20 minutes of it, fell asleep and woke up for the last 5. So in my head, I've watched the film, but it's on my own version of it. So when I spoke to people about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it really got crazy in the middle there. We're like...
Special effects were unbelievable.
I was in it. How did that happen? But yeah, that's my go-to at the moment. Falling asleep in horror films.
It's an expensive way to sleep. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't go to that many, to be fair. It's like
it's
usually
cheaper to get in an Uber and just go for a few rides around the block.
Yeah, yeah. Although maybe not as horrifying. It depends which Uber you get, I suppose.
It depends what your definition of horrifying is. I think someone's saying, how's your night been? That's more horrifying than watching a fucking ghostly film.
Especially if it's during the day. It's like, how do you know?
How's your night been?
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of question is that?
I had that once where going to a wedding, I was out at like 5 a.m, travelling there. And then the lassie behind the checkout went and said, is this you finishing your night or starting it? Well, that's the biggest backhanded compliment ever. Like, you look rough.
You look rough,
and I
but
start
why?
of the day. Yeah, it's the start of the day. Like, I'm just up and I look
What am I
rough.
seeing? Dread or misery?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was like, oh, actually, I'm just heading off to one, but thank you. Made me feel bad for it.
you look like you need to go to bed. Did you just get out of it, or have you been out of it for way too long?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think the full like Scottish dress helps either. Like randomly just walking around a Tesco and 5 a.m, you could guess either way it would be. You know, either or, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to Tesco at 5:30. I used to go to the Asda at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Because it's 24 hour.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We had to get a few things for the road, so it's like, you know, my mates that were in kilts as well, they didn't get that question. So I don't know if it's just...
You shouldn't ever be questioned in Scotland for wearing a kilt. It should be like almost a racist thing to say.
You wearing a kilt? Yes. Yeah.
What did you just say?
There was
Excuse me?
There was a guy up north who he always wears a kilt, and he's known as like he's the local kind of character, right?
Right.
And we had question time up there, like during the whole independence and all that, and then they put him on TV to ask questions, and he just lost the plot. And we we're going, the one representation we got from Inverness is this crazy guy in a kilt, basically like the Scottish guy from Simpsons, just shouting freedom at the top of his voice.
Like Wooly.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, people saw that, they asked me about it, I'm like, yeah, I know the guy, he's from Inverness, we're not all like that though, you know.
Right.
Uh,
We're all like that all the time.
See, back in the last like neighborhood I was living in, there was a guy who would walk around in a samurai outfit.
Wow.
Like full like kimono and whatnot, and he'd be like, "This is my Japanese kimono." And he was just like down the street. He was just like, "Sir."
I like how you just get those characters that it's like, you know,
She's turned the winds against us.
yeah. Let me, yeah. You just have those like people that it's like, yeah, the whole street knows them, they're fine, you know. But anywhere else, it'd be like, it's like that's my crazy person in the street, not. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was a funny way for people to introduce to people from Inverness. Just this crazy
Freedom.
Scotsman. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's made famous by an Australian, but you know.
I'd like to do a mashup now of that George Michael song, Freedom 90, and like bits of Braveheart.
Do you know what? Not actually a bad shout. I think you could get Lord of the Rings in there as well. Is there not like the charge bit in there that you could chuck in there?
Freedom.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a charge scene where like they might not say freedom, but I know there's a whole things like the second film that
Could definitely get some of the raw. from it.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's always a fun way to kind of introduce people to who you are, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a random Scottish guy.
There's the thing with Scottish people are like passionate people, right? They're passionate about it being. I know there was that bit in Trainspotting where it's like it's shite being Scottish, you know. I don't know how people resonate with that as like if you're Scottish. Would you agree it's shite being Scottish or?
I quite like it, to be fair. I mean,
You
I
don't
have a
like
choice.
You do or you don't?
No, I like being Scottish, but I don't have a choice really. But I think the older I get, the more I kind of lean into it. It's like the stuff like the national dress and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I've got tons of books on like folklore and all that, for Scottish folklore and all that. So I'm always kind of keen to be learn about and get. Like I said, the older I get, I think I'm more keen on being it. And it's also nice across the world because like everyone loves the Scottish round about the place. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people hate the English, but everyone loves the Scottish.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
And I think also if you're English, your attitude is like, it's shit, innit? Like, that's the thing. In Scotland, it's like, fuck you. It's not shit. It's actually great, you know?
I think it also depends, like, where you come from in Scotland. It's like Edinburgh, Glasgow has the Glasgow prefers Glasgow, Edinburgh prefers Edinburgh. So I think it's regional as well in terms of our places. So, and then you'll always be. When I went to university and when I said I was from the Highlands, it's like I learned that there's like like the Central Belt have a thing against the Highlands, the people from the Highlands, and then Aberdeen people have things against people from Aberdeen. So it feels like very regional kind of.
It must be mad to American people, I guess, as well. It's like, it's a tiny country, and yet they're so angry with each other.
Yeah. I think that's it. We're just angry.
Just angry.
Got bad weather.
American take on it. You guys are nowhere near as angry as Americans are towards each other.
Who do Americans like? What are the biggest rivalries?
Still football. But American football. Politics.
It's an angry place, but it's just bigger.
Yeah. And a lot more, the only, like, things that I hear... I have only heard so much about Scotland. My view is very much from, like, North Lanarkshire area. So, like, I haven't gotten to hear a lot about Scotland, but, like, the stuff that I have gotten here is, like, oh, you don't want to be involved in football, you don't want to talk about politics, you don't want to this, that, and the other. It's like, no, it's still not as bad.
Not as bad as America.
No, definitely not. Like, you get... I had neighbors at one point who liked a football team that wasn't the local team, and there was, like, somebody who, like, tried to burn their house down.
Wow.
Like,
I thought you were going to say, somebody put their window out once, bro. Burned their house down.
yeah, it's just stuff like that.
And that was
It's
just
like,
over football.
Yeah, just a football team. It's like...
Passion.
This is weird. And, like, the person where I was living was like, oh, yeah, that happens here, too. And I'm like, where? I've not heard anything about this type of stuff. Like, I hear there's, like, a rivalry.
Yeah.
But, like, I haven't heard it to be, like, that extreme. And, like, I was afraid of pretty much anybody who liked football here for, like, the entire year that I was here. And then it was just, like, once I actually got talking to people, it's, like, it seems to be more of, like, just, like, a general, like, rivalry. Like, oh, you like this team, well, I like this team. We're against each other, But it's not, like, I haven't seen people, like, trying to fist fight each other in the streets or anything.
I think it depends what days. It is a funny one because it's one of those topics that everyone's got a football team. So I'm not a massive football fan and all that, but it is like I feel there's like 2 or 3 conversations that everyone goes to for small talk, and one is usually what team do you support?
Yeah.
And then,
First one, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like if you don't support a team, then that kind of kills that one straight away, and then you
It's
kind of
never
go.
a thing where it's like, what team do you support? And then you just say it, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's it now.
See, I've gotten away with this because I just say an American football team, and then they're like, I don't know what that is, and I'm like, good.
I can slightly get away with it because Inverness has its own football team, so I just say that one out there. But like even here, so it's saying you got Hearts Club that's on this side of us, and Hibs is on the other side, and that's the rivalry in Edinburgh. And you obviously got Rangers Celtic, so
yeah,
it is.
that's the typical one that I hear about is the Rangers Celtic.
Yeah, and they are very passionate people in terms of all those teams, and then even to the point of, like some of them would rather see if it's like depending on points. They would rather see their team lose to help another team get more points to then see their opposition team lose more. So it's like kind of self-sacrifice or self-defeat. It's going, oh, well, if we lose to this game to these guys, then we can let them go, and then our opposite team will kind of like crash and burn as well. But yeah, it's, like I said, I always find it fun. It's one of those conversations that people always go to. I've got nothing for it. One time I did have a conversation about Liverpool, though. And I was quite chuffed on that night out because I just watched the football game before, so like
You can trick people.
yeah. It's one of, as long as you see like a few like a few comments made about it, you can kind of just add into and just kind of let them take care of it. Yeah.
I heard one in a pub the other day. It was about something. It was like, I thought we played well, but we didn't take any risks in the second half. And I was like, I repeated it at work, and it was like, I sounded like a normal person.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that
That
means.
sounds like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I think we played well, but we didn't take any risks.
Take any risk. That's like your boss coming in and being like, "Hey, you didn't do this. You didn't. Oh, you should have done this." You know, it
But
gives
with
off
football.
like the same vibes. Like, why didn't you submit that paperwork? Well, boss, like,
We
what should I?
played well, but we didn't take any risks.
Yeah, we got by with a draw. That's usually our one. We got by with a draw.
Fuck you. I hate how real that sounds, though. Got by. Oh, fucking hell. I feel like you're a proper football person.
I've been around enough people watching people that you can kind of just... one of the comments is going to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to kind of make sure you pick the right one to have said.
Don't take this the wrong way. It make me sick with comments like that. They sound too real.
It's always funny. So I sometimes join my mate at one of the games. I just love sitting around people that are watching the game, and it's like they're sitting there as management of the game, telling everyone how to play the game and all that. And you're like, if you could chuck on a shirt and go down there, I don't think you'd be as confident than sitting up way back, like 20 seats high into the shadows. You're shouting, "Don't give him a goal," or like take him off, put him on. So
I've had arguments with my uncle's properly into football, and like sometimes when I'm drunk enough, I'll actually be like, right, fine, let's talk about football, all right, for fuck's sake. And I'm like, what difference does it make who the managers are? Like, what is the secret? Is it the money? Is it the play? Like, what? Isn't it just chance? It isn't. It isn't.
yeah, I don't know. But then you think Manchester, they got rid of Alex Ferguson, and they've never been as good.
What was he doing? That's what I mean. Like, what the fuck is he?
I
Was he
don't know.
whipped them? Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Because you got to think at some point, you'd be annoyed as a football player, all the credit going to the manager when they're not actually on the field doing any of the goal scoring and all that. You know what I mean?
What does the manager do?
I don't know.
Like, I know in a call centre,
Yeah.
they'll be like, listen, guys, you've not taken enough calls or whatever. What is he saying? You've not kicked the ball enough? You've not...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And he's saying, like, wouldn't you just train as hard as you could all the time and try your best to play football? What is this guy in the coat doing when he's chewing, like, 8 pieces of chewing gum? Like, what is it?
But then evidently they must be doing something because they get a big wage, and
Well, yeah,
you can tell a team that's not got a good manager because, like, I don't know. It never comes up in the conversation. The manager's never questioned. It's always the football players, and then the manager's just given.
They can become a scapegoat. But I feel like, I feel like we've started to sound like people who talk about football, and that's making me feel a bit sick to my stomach.
See what you do. What I get away with as an American is I like to start the argument of what is football.
Okay.
Because in America,
What is football?
is like, you got like the oblong shaped ball, the like brown ball that you like toss, and
Yeah.
and that's football. In here, football is American soccer.
Yeah.
And I love starting that argument.
So
because instead of arguing about teams, which I don't know how to argue, I just get to piss people off.
So you find enough, I've gone the other route. So last year I got into American football, ever so slightly. So then had to go through the whole thing of picking teams and all that. And now there's a pub that shows it, and it's always filled with Americans. And I get to play that card, going, "Oh, well, what's American football?" And then I have the whole conversation with me. It's hilarious.
Where is this American pub? I've only met one other American in this whole fucking country.
Oh no, there's a lot of them down Belushi's, down on Grassmarket, just off the end of it. It's funny when you go there because it's like, I would say stereotypical Americans. Like last year for the first month, there was like New Yorkers that were there, but they kind of proper, I'm walking, that kind of.
Wait, can you guys understand Americans here?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake,
Some
why
people
have I been trying to be
pretend.
Scottish this whole I purposefully put on the accent because I've had Scottish people can't understand me, and then I'm I talk a bit more Scottish, and they're like, oh, that's what you're saying.
I find that more confusing. If I've got a customer on the phone and they say, like, I don't know, like a Polish taxi driver, but he's been living in Scotland for a very long time. Let me just do this thing again because it's needed to do something. Anyway, and it's like I can hear he'll have like the twang, but he's also got like, yeah, I'm going to take my taxi down the road. Then like it's like little bits of Scottish. I'm like, that's way more confusing because my head's starting to adjust to the Polish, and then it's coming back with Scottish and that. Like I find if you just keep it pure, it's easier.
I try to keep the Scottish accent as consistent as I possibly can, but it's sometimes like the American likes to come out and like, nope, get go.
You find yourself using the word hin when you're going more Scottish, using the word hin instead of hun.
Alright.
Thinking Jacqueline McCafferty, you know.
I was going to say the other key phrases are I,
Yep.
we,
Got that one. Yep.
we.
Everything's fucking we.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Any place that has we in their vocabulary uses it way too much, in my opinion.
I find it's a good way to not catch people out, but so we means totally different amount of things for Scottish people. But it's never, I mind when I met mates from England and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go for a wee drink. And they'd be like, yeah, as long as you're back by like 9. And it's like, well, your mistake there is thinking as a measurement. A wee drink is just like a verb to go drink. It's not a...
you could snip it out and it would mean exactly the same.
Yeah.
But also, it's like that. I was like that. It's like past tense.
Yep.
Instead of I was like this, it's like this. That's totally... I learned so much Scottish from watching Limmy's show, right? I love it.
I think one of the things that threw me off guard when I came here is the term "so it is."
So it is.
Yeah.
And out with is another one. I was. I feel it's a very Scottish phrasing.
Which one?
Out with.
I with.
Out with, yeah. So it's like
Didn't
out
really
with
hear
this
that one very
conversation.
much in
Out
my
with.
area.
It's usually like more not corporate speak, but when you're in business and all that, you can you hear that dropped quite a lot in emails and all that. But yeah, I just think it's funny between I, we, and depending where you are, Ken. You can have a full conversation with some of those 3 words.
Yep.
Where's the one? Where's that? I ken that one.
Okay, and it's like, where are you fae?
Where you fae?
Yeah.
Your feather would be proud.
Yeah. Where you fae? There's a few. So my mate's from Hartlepool. So there's a few kind of. He doesn't like me call him Geordie, but I pretty much do because I feel it's close enough.
He's not really.
No, but it annoys him, so I do it.
Smash this glass.
But there's a few words he comes out with. None are coming to the top of my head, but it's quite funny having the different phrases and all that.
You know what my mum used to say all the time, and I found it, Scottish people take it totally different, is just now. I'll have some just now.
Yeah.
And to you, that means I'm going to pick this cup up just now.
Yeah.
And I'm just picking it up now.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, it's like, I'll pick it up later when I want it. It's later. It's totally different meaning, the same weird word.
I mean, did you ever get where you you say a word and then so like just now, for example, you're like, does it exist? Actually exists, or is it just something that I've said and think it exists as a word?
And
now?
everyone started doing that, and then it does exist.
Yeah.
Like, drocht is a word that my mum used to use, right? And this is something I wanted to ask a Scottish person.
Right.
What to you? What does that mean?
What does it say again?
Drocht. Yeah.
Drocht. Don't know if I've ever heard it.
You use it in a sentence.
Okay. You come in out of the rain and you're soaking wet. You fucking drocht.
So I would go like dreek it. I feel that's how I've ever
Dreek
heard
it?
Yeah, like soaking wet, like you're. That's what you're going by with that.
Right. Yeah.
In the US, it would be dripping, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So even here. So again, as I said, I'm from up north, so we've got words that aren't used here. And it's quite interesting when you kind of, like once a year is I'm going to get my messages in, which is since I'm going shopping. But I hadn't heard that since I come down here.
Go on a message.
So I know they say I'm going to get my messages in. So
Get
I mean,
you shopping.
Yeah.
My mum used to say that and all. She was like, I'm just going on a message. And it always sounded like a fascinating thing. She was just going to pick up like
She's on a quest.
Yeah. I'm frantically and quietly.
My guy, your mic
What?
is gonna pick that up. You're crazy.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm doing, because people, you can't just be like, can I just stop you for like 8 minutes? Basically, my phone is dying.
I have a charger out in the car.
I have one here. I did.
If you don't, I can go get mine.
Also, if you don't want to have to like hold that, then I've just found this as well. Would have been
Well,
handy, this, wouldn't it?
I've been like moving
Yeah,
it
you've
back
been giving
and
it a bit of
forth.
action shots.
I know. I'm trying my best.
And then I've got this shot of you now because I thought if I don't have a shot of you, they're gonna be like, "Who's that?" Because you're not in that shot. You're not in that shot or this shot.
Who's the asshole holding the other camera?
Who is this? Yeah. So if
They probably can't even hear me.
well, that's what I thought. It'd be like if it can hear you a bit, fair enough. But if it can it see you and can it hear you, it's gonna be like confusing.
Put that camera this way. Put my camera that way, and I just sit on your lap.
What? I was gonna. You found it.
Clap there. Clap.
Honey.
Right.
Like nothing happened.
You wouldn't know. Has there been an interruption in the broadcast?
Has there?
I know, I'm wrecked now. That was
This
harder
one's
than the
not
stairs.
facing you. You need to get this.
Right. Is this one facing you at least? Is this the most like legit and professional experience you've had?
Yeah.
That one's facing you. That one's sort of facing you.
See, this is fun, but I don't have to edit any of this, or
Yeah, I can edit. As long as there's something left.
yeah.
I made a mistake. I was filming everything else in vertical.
I can always
I'm
edit.
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Right. I feel like we're being interviewed about our experience on a cruise ship when we arrived back in the UK. We're also wearing the same hoodie, which is really weird. And it's just a coincidence.
You're good. I'm just happy everything's turned on now and it's all working.
We're all turned on. And it's all ready to go.
I didn't realize it was this kind of.
Now is the...
Alright, TikTok. Well, we're going to be over on OnlyFans now.
You still hear me?
Half of the podcast will have this sound. And the other half will have
Right.
maybe slightly down.
I'm looking forward to people picking up, like just going, "Oh, what happened in the?"
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
That's
Well,
good. You can
all
relax now.
Yeah, I'll never be able to relax, but... Alright, so where were we? Scotland.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember at what point we
You
got
were
to.
talking about football.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, don't have a team which I'm fairly happy about.
Yeah,
You
we're
just,
talking about...
just gotta claim one.
I think it's too challenging. It's also the fact that they just assume that it's a football team that you want to support. You know, especially with the rugby being big up here. And I saw Gaelic football for the first time the other week. That's all different. Like that's just dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So it's like they've got it's essentially like hockey, but they lob it with the hockey stick. So like.
When you said Gaelic, I thought it was just like they had a bit of an accent.
No.
They're
They're
trying to kill each other.
Oh no, I couldn't be anywhere near the stadium. Like it just feels too dangerous. Imagine hockey, but getting
I can't
flight
be
in it.
near the stadium.
I think it'd be too
Fucking
dangerous.
hell, man.
Yeah, you're
That's
getting a
too
hockey
much.
ball thrown at you, like, and it goes in. Imagine like a football stadium, but people are lobbing hockey balls in the air.
Right, okay, so this is my first introduction to this particular sport, and from what I understand, there's not a football,
No.
there's a hockey ball,
Yes,
and they don't kick it, they throw it at the crowd.
they can. No, that's just they're not good at, I suppose. But they've got like a certain like stick that they use, so they can kind of like hit it on the ground, but then also lob it in the air and all that. It just looks painful.
Is it like a lacrosse type thing?
Yeah, but like I think it's more like cricket ball and just getting absolutely so fast as well.
Why is it called? It's like, how many different types of football now? I know there's
Do
3.
yeah,
That's a lot to remember.
I've not actually asked a question why they call it Gaelic football. I think it might just be where it started from. It's definitely very much an Irish thing. It's not like there's no teams over here and all that, and it's very regional in Ireland. But everyone seemed to be thinking it was like just normal. I'm like, that's like
Like, our football players are all missing teeth with black
Yeah.
eyes.
yeah.
Why is it normal football not like that?
You do then look at you look at our, like normal football like that. Yeah, in comparison, they're not having any dangerous thing lobbed at them like that.
See, that just reminds me of American baseball. It's like, oh yeah, if somebody in the crowd gets hit, somebody in the crowd gets hit. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
There's no barriers or anything.
No, nothing. And it's just like, you better hope you're lucky enough to, like, not be the one who's not paying attention.
Yeah.
And, like, people will also, like, go and they'll try and, like, you get hit with a ball and whatnot. Somebody will fucking tackle you next because they want that ball. And it's like, I just took a baseball to the face. What makes you think you deserve it?
If you get it in the face, it's yours.
Yeah.
As long as it stays in your face.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the global rule for baseball, that hits you in the face, you keep it forever.
If you pull it out of someone's face socket, that's bad.
That's just too aggressive.
it's just, what do you call it, bad form.
Yeah. It is,
What did I do? I'm sorry.
That's alright.
Yeah.
It's all going, it's all good.
It's a massive reason, just in general with sports and all that, I kind of try to prevent getting hurt. I'm not a massive fan of pain and all that, so when you kind of see people with rugby getting tackled into the ground and all that.
It's the ears, man. What are they doing with their ears?
Yeah, I don't know. Because that's a choice. It's a choice. You look like an idiot with the hat on.
Yeah.
Or just get your ears that are just absolutely knackered by the end of it.
Yeah.
And it's not as if you can kind of go into like once you've done that sport, you can always, with football, I think you could be like an ex-footballer and get away with a normal sport or a normal job.
Beckham became like a kind of fashion icon.
Yeah.
Whereas a rugby player, you kind of look like a potato.
Yeah. You're not seeing many kind of like rugby players turn models, are you?
Trying to think. Don't know, like just.
Nah.
I think it's definitely when you see the cauliflower ear thing, they're either a boxer, an MMA fighter, or a rugby player.
Yeah.
And it's best to just steer clear,
I did, I don't know where I heard it, but I did hear because of the look of it and because it's association with like kind of sports and just like you're a fighter, or rugby, there are some people that purposely get it done so that people mistake them for being in a, because it's like this some element of it where it's like, oh, this is a badge of honor, but it's like kind of just false or made false.
Sad. It's like that the 50 Cent thing. Didn't he ask someone to shoot him or something so he would look more tough?
Oh gosh.
Did he? I don't know.
I mean, if he did, I feel like you could just say that happened to you rather than having to go through it. Like,
I was shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's never like kind of showing, like he just says it, so why don't you just say...
No, you're going to have to shoot his wife.
Have either of you guys actually had like a gun pointed to your head before?
No.
It's an experience.
I can imagine it would be.
Oh yeah.
I've just had paintballing at me, and that was scary enough. I can't imagine what an actual like dangerous weapon or gun would be like pointed at me.
Please explain.
It's just like, it feels kind of surreal because it's like, oh, this man could kill me like right now with just like the smallest like move of his finger.
Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, you're just like, this is America. This happens. Whatever.
Yeah, there's just one person in this room is from America,
and
they're the only one that's had the gun point.
I know. Stereotypically, it's not.
Can I just like give you $20 and walk off? Like, is that good? Like,
isn't that what they normally want? Is money?
They want money. They want like all your shit. But like at the same time, it's just like, can I just give you $20 and we can just call it good? Like, can we do this next week? Like, can you wait till like I have like a shitty work day? We can just at least like wait till I'm ready for it.
Ready for the bullet.
It's like we'll meet back here.
Give it a week. I'm tired of dealing with my boss. It's fine,
See, I had a slightly different experience. So when I was visiting San Francisco, we got stopped on. We were in the Old Town, and we got stopped by this guy who did a magic trick for us, and then several other ones, and then started trying to give out like life advice, and then he wouldn't let us go until we paid him like $20 each. So I'm like to my mate, I'm not paying him $20, and he just kept coming out with all this like good like life advice and all that. And I was like, oh, that's worth every penny. I'm like, mate, I could give you that. You can give me $20, and I could. I'm like, I mean, it was a nice kind of like getting held against my world.
That's like one of the things in the U.S. is like you get stopped on like every corner by somebody doing something, or if they're homeless, and it's every corner, and it's like, gosh, please just leave me alone. Like, you can't walk through like Seattle without being like,
I never thought of Seattle. Like, what are your thoughts when you think Seattle? What's the first word?
Sleepless in Seattle.
I was going to say Nirvana.
Oh, sorry.
Basically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's like a place where everyone's dressed in like plaid and denim, and it's basically just everyone's like Kurt Cobain. And there's coffee and it's raining.
No.
The raining, yes.
Yeah, the rain.
But like everything else, no. Okay, here. How about this? My friend's first experience in like Seattle was we went to a cheese shop. Like it was near Pike Place. We were heading out. We were going to a cheese shop, and they were like, "Oh, this is fun. You know, we go in, we get our cheese, and we come out." And there's this guy stumbling down the street, and he's going, you know, he's just doing a thing. His pants as he walks are just slowly coming down. And my friend's like, "Can we get out of here? Can we get out of here?" I'm like, "He's not gonna hurt us. He's literally just, he's too high to do anything to us. He's just he's on something.
Yeah.
Falling
this
down,
is fine.
not being pulled
No.
aggressively. Right.
They were just slowly coming down.
He didn't want them to come down.
No.
Any more than you did.
He was losing the battle with gravity.
I've been there.
But it was just like that's what I describe Seattle as. It's just like half the people in Seattle are walking around with their pants down speaking gibberish. The other half are like asking for shit from you. Like, you see very few people who are actually just like walking to get places, and the people you do are either tourists who are not familiar with the area, or people who live there that are just like, "I just need to get to work. I just need to get to work."
It's
like, oh, you fucking pay like $5,000 a month for rent, and it's like, why?
It definitely isn't what I would thought Seattle was like. Like, you've given me a new perspective on what Seattle was like.
Oh, you'll be sleepless all
watch,
right.
Yeah.
Watch a documentary that's like Seattle is Dying. It's on Netflix. Watch that, and you'll get a good idea of what Seattle is actually like.
Yeah, because you think it is in a, because like where it's at, you think it is more quaint and more kind of like
No.
easy living and all that sort of stuff. You don't see it. I mean, even the fact that there's a guy walking around with a samurai outfit on.
Yeah.
You know.
And that was Airdrie, you know? Like,
Oh, was it?
yeah.
Okay.
So it was like
Is that just normal there?
just general like kind of town vibes,
Yeah.
you know? Like it's not like,
Different.
Yeah, but like here it's like you can have that happen, but in like Washington, you don't see stuff like that. You know, those are the only people you see doing that are like the crazies. But here it's just like, yeah, that's samurai dude. He just exists.
What are you gonna do?
I said I feel every town's got one. You don't have one, it's you. That's probably the person in that town. That's it.
If your town doesn't have a person with a samurai sword, and you have a samurai sword,
Yeah.
I've got news for you.
You are that person.
Yeah.
You're doing the samurai work.
It is so hard to get swords in this country. It is so hard to get swords in this country. I have been trying.
What a strange sentence to say twice.
I know all of like the legalities of swords in the UK, and it's like, yeah, like you can't have a curved blade more than like I believe it's 11 inches.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Why? You can have a straight blade more than 11 inches, but you can't have a curved blade more than 11 inches. Like, what?
I mean, your knowledge of blades and the legality
What a
of
strange
blades.
thing to bring up randomly, unprovoked.
Well, we'll say around
We
here
were
was
talking about samurai, dude.
I suppose, yeah, there was some reference to a samurai sword, but didn't know you'd been like making all these inquiries, you know.
like on Mastermind. My special subject is swords.
Blade use in the UK.
I needed to know this for the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Then.
one of the guys walks around with a big ass sword on his back.
And you needed to know if that was legally possible.
Yeah, it's in a fictional
It's
show.
a fictional show, but it needs. I can't have anyone watching the show and being like, "Hang on a minute, there's no way you could have that. Is that blade 11 inches? No way."
Just messaging the writer going, can you just put a wee note at the bottom saying this is...
If you've noticed anything wrong with this episode, please call us on this number.
It's even funnier.
00000.
Yeah, we'll take those calls.
After a certain point here, they switch out from, depending where you are, like, you get plastic pint glasses as opposed to, like, actual glass pint glasses.
Yeah.
Just because you can't be trusted, it's like, you got to get onto the plastic.
You know it's going to be a horrible night when it's like plastic glasses. Like,
Yeah. If anything, I feel they just, like, warm the beer up.
yeah, it warms the beer up. It doesn't taste as good, and you feel like you should have been glassed. That's how rough it is.
You're like 50 Cent.
That means
What do you mean?
I don't drink. I've never really drank before. I've had a Wicked one time, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it was 30 milliliters of a Wicked, so it was that much. It was that's all I've ever drank.
Yeah.
So I have no clue what you're talking about.
I suppose it's like going to, I don't know, a restaurant and they give you it's like a nice restaurant. The waiters are wearing bow ties and they give you a plastic knife.
Yeah.
I don't want you shanking anybody.
On a paper plate as well.
And what would you like to start? Let me just take that knife away.
Although, to be fair, there was not a craze. I feel there was a craze 2015 where they just decided to throw out cutlery and plates and all that, and you got a shovel and you had a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You got restaurants around here that they just serve everything. That it would be a slate or a...
Yeah, I remember that.
bin lid or something like that.
What is up in this country with the wooden cutlery?
Wood.
Yeah, why is everything wood and the plastic or the paper straws? Who thought the paper straws were a good idea? I hate them.
I think
Everybody hates them.
There was one video of a turtle with a straw in its nose. You've seen it. You must have seen it, right? And everyone after that didn't ever I felt guilty using a plastic straw.
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being anything other than that video.
But why paper? Why not wood? You know,
wood
if we're doing the
straw.
wood cutlery, why can't we do the wood straws?
Yeah, I mean, you do get people that do bring their own straws around places for that. They get metal straws and wooden straws, but...
Yeah, but why paper? Because it just dissolves.
Yeah.
You're intaking a liquid through it, which changes its state.
And then I got Capri Suns at one point, which you know how you have to poke the straw and the paper straws were just
Now it's just
crinkling.
wings.
Trying to poke it in. I was what?
They don't have the straws anymore. It's just the little wings on the
Just
little
open
Yoda
shut.
head at the top of the.
Aye.
Not for Capri Suns.
Yeah.
I had one yesterday.
It is one of those things that you think we've put men on the moon.
Yeah.
We've had technology. Why can't we get a better functioning straw that's not wasteful but also doesn't dissolve in the
I
drink?
think they are trying to develop a plastic that dissolves much quicker.
Yeah.
I can
it
see us
dissolves
sat
on
here.
liquid.
We would be complaining
like-
about that as well.
We
These new
would.
dissolvable plastic straws. Are
It
no good.
disintegrates before the end of the
What's wrong
drink.
with cardboard straws? That's what we'll say.
No, anything with the paper straws.
Oh, it does make you think. You could I always thought if you went back in time, the hot tub time machine, what would you take back as an invention? But it's usually technology and all that. But I would know about it, but I wouldn't know how to do. I couldn't make a phone, for example. But I could go back
yeah.
and
If I could take back anything, I would want to take back something like the wheel. Something so simple.
Yeah.
And then I just have people keep reinventing it. Aha, I came up with this thing. Aha.
Over and over again.
Over and
Yeah.
over. It's John, you're not creative.
it's I already got that. Is that it does make you think. What would you take back, and then where would you go with it? My mate was saying about the betting. You go back and bet on certain games and all
Yeah.
that.
Can you remember the games?
Well, that's exactly
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Martin McFly had that almanac.
Yeah.
But where do I get that?
And then you'd have to be aware of it, and then I don't know who I'd go back or what I'd take back, but yeah, you'd have to be aware of it enough that you could go back at that point in time, put the money on for it, and then get the win.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
And then it's once you put the money on it, it completely changes.
Yeah.
Merely a step in the wrong direction
The
could
butterfly
change the
effect.
entire outcome of that game. So it's what are you actually achieving?
And also, you say you went back to the 70s, right? You get me, you win a bet of £5, and it's not even that big compared to today's standards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd be you're winning £2.50 on a bet that's $60 to $1 or something like that. You're well.
Imagine Back to the Future, but Biff had won a tenner on the lottery,
Aye.
and that was it.
You're hoping that inflation kicks in when you get back, but
Oh, it'll work.
it's yeah. Like I said, I don't know what to take back.
Speaking of inflation, anybody seen how expensive Freddos are?
That's the benchmark, isn't it? The global benchmark for world economics.
I never heard that until I got here, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Freddos are so expensive," and I'm like, "What the fuck is a Freddo?"
Is that just a UK thing?
Yeah, it's just the UK thing.
Oh, I
It's
thought
not
that
a
was. So
thing in
what's
the
the
US.
American version of that then? We a Big Mac equivalent of the cost of Big Mac.
it is the Big Mac. It's the Big Mac is $10.99 now. It's
Yeah.
What?
Is it $10.99?
No, I think so. It's something
That's
like that.
outrageous either way. That's worse than any Freddo. Fucking hell, man.
It's like, I remember when a Big Mac was 50 cents.
Yeah.
Them clips what you see on, it's like, I don't know what film it was. You must have seen on TikTok, or Michael Keaton is like buying a Big Mac or something in the 50s. And it's like, this is the first ever McDonald's, and he's just like, what do I do? Like, what is it? And where's the silverware and the plates and shit? And I think it was like 30 cents for the burger.
Yeah, I mean, I have been getting a lot of, like, the other one I saw was, like, from, like, the 60s, and it was a guy in his, I think he was in the 70s, and he was jumping over letterboxes, like, you know, big red ones.
Yeah.
And that's what he kept young, and he tried to get it done as a national sport and all that, but it's like your old-fashioned, like, 1970s reporter going round, going,
Yeah.
and here we meet Dave, who's the national champion letterbox jumper.
There's some weird shit. I saw one, a guy who was like, yeah, I put a ferret in my trousers. And the reporter's like, is that a thing that a lot of people do? He's like, well, I do it. It's like, that doesn't make it a thing.
Is that not why he's like biting them? It's
Yeah,
obviously
he's
stressed
like,
and all that.
Oh, they'll bite.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let them out.
Yeah, and it's like, why do you do it? He goes, cause it's about the discipline and that.
Yeah, I watched that the other day. It was like, and it was just the thing what made me laugh is the reporter was like, is that something people do? He's like, well, I do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, I feel like it'd be like, you wouldn't get away. Can you imagine a guy just walking around with ferrets down his street? It's like, oh, that's just my hobby. How did you get into it? Did it start with ferret? So was it like guinea pigs or?
Uh-oh. I used to walk with a cat around in my jacket.
I feel that's more appropriate.
And I had a cat.
It's more wholesome.
Yeah.
I had a cat that would also follow me down the street. We had a cat that would sit in one of the robes. I never had any of my cats try and like go down my pants. So like I'm interested what like ferrets.
Yeah, I don't think the ferrets wanted to go down. I
No,
think
they
he
definitely didn't.
Yeah, I think he.
Oh
forced
no, they don't want to be down there. Right. And how do you keep them down there? I keep my belt tight, keep my trousers tucked in, and they bite you.
Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
And that's a normal thing. Well, I do it.
And you keep in there for like half an hour or something like that. It wasn't like it was a 5 minute thing.
It was like a record,
Yeah. Like he just was a guy with the ferrets
He
down his
says to his
trousers.
wife, go get the stopwatch. Not again, man. Go get it. When you're doing stand-up, for example, right, do you find, and I heard Louis C.K. say this a long time ago, if you write it down, it changes how your brain remembers it, and you won't say it the same way.
Yeah, so I've got to do it for words. I struggle to... so I have to have it all memorised. And then go out and then deliver it, which is kind of half. But I'd rather be able to just kind of go do, 5 minutes and just a random thing and all that. But every beat has to be dropped in, and then it's even more annoying because when you're actually doing it live, then I've got to record it because I might on a day switch something out, and then I prefer it, so then I've got to kind of unlearn what I learned.
Yeah.
To kind of, but yeah, it's so yeah, I've got to have everything down to like the T and all that.
And that's how you do. So how do you know when you've got the bit? When do you start doing it? How do you remember it? And
so I'll give you an example for one. I was at a pub and then the Proclaimers came on, the 500 miles, right? And
big fan of the Proclaimers, right?
Yeah, you got my attention.
so I just thought, see if you didn't know that they were brothers, right? And then you took the lyrics, it could be quite creepy.
That's true.
So I did a bit where one brother secretly trying to get the cops to get involved because his brother's like when I wake up, I'm going to be beside you and all that sort of stuff. It's like, it gets too creepy. And then the whole 500 miles was just like a stalking element of it. So then I did that and then I redid some of the lyrics. So it was more like, can you hear that knocking on the window? Yeah, that's me outside your door and stuff. So I went weird with it.
Right.
But then...
So you were listening in the pub, you got that idea.
Yeah.
And then,
You just rolled with it.
Yeah. So then I'll play about with it, or like I've got my mad scrollings up there where it's like I'll see them when I'm having a coffee and all that, and then something will kind of trigger on the back of it.
I gotta get a shot of that.
Aye.
That's a good idea.
Or then usually just having a conversation, then so I've got like notepads that I take about the place, all over the place, and then my phone's full of like notes of just random ideas and all that need to get developed out.
So you have to write it down because you don't want to forget it, but you cannot write it down as he would say it. It has to be like just the idea, and then your brain has to form it into the like actual speech.
Yeah. And then the other frustrating thing is, so you have an idea, so for example, airports. I don't understand why they sell suitcases in the airport. because by that time it's too late.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a nice bit.
So then I've gotten down more than that, but then I did go and see a show, and the guy did same idea, obviously kind of independent and all that, but he did a lot with it. Yeah. So at the end of the show, I was like, I've been trying to think of sitting around about that. You've done a great job of it, so now I'll leave that as a just a side thing for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how it usually happens. It'd be just something that's just triggers your thought process. You're like, I'll lean into it.
Yeah.
Or let it sort of come in conversation. But yeah, it's I couldn't just do it off the top of my head. It's frustrating because there's a lot of guys that can do that, and then it's more impactful on the night because they can just jump off what people have said, and it feels more authentic. What about yourself? You said you're doing a show.
What?
I was talking about like I've got some ideas, I've got some stories as well. I've got which you may have heard some of, and some of them are good for TikTok, and I tell them on TikTok. Some of them are good for the podcast. Some of them are filthy, and I need a stand-up stage to tell them, you know. But
go on OnlyFans. Start doing.
Could I do that on OnlyFans?
Podcast?
Or just talking like a stand-up comedy routine? But I need to. It's frustrating that I've not done it yet. I got this friend who may be watching, and he's talking about going to the Bill Murray in London and doing our first like set there. Have you done the Bill Murray or
no? I've
only
said
done Belushi's before. Is there a connection there, or is that just?
No, that's just for the football. No, there's like so we've got the stand around here. We've got like 3 or 4 venues around here that do quite a lot of open mics. So when I was doing it more regularly, like you kind of like every week you kind of go to a different place, kind of get an open mic spot.
Yeah.
But it's like usually like 5 minutes. But I said because it's got to be written down, it takes longer to kind of sort out and memorise it.
Hours getting that 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of times I walk back around here having like just my neighbours must think I'm mental because
you walk around in here doing
I say it like walk around here, but I'll be like for like 5-10 minutes might have spent 15 hours something like that just trying to get all
a succinct bit.
Aye, actually so I mean one thing I say is just do it. It's kind of the best thing. Just being out there on stage and kind of having a joke land is amazing. I had done it through as my mate's best man, and then I thought I'll use this as like a open audition for me to do a piece and all that. So then learned it out, did the what I thought was my first stand-up routine. He just saw it as a best man speech and all that, but I got enough laughter to kind of go, well, that's something I'm going to start doing.
And then it led to like I've got to be my brother's best man in December, so maybe that'll be my jumping off point as well, you know.
I mean, it's got all the best parts because they're automatically want you to do well, which is good. You know, and you can kind of roast. You know, if you're the best man, you can roast your mate and all that. Like I said, everyone's usually drunk by the time you come on, so it's got all the thing, kind of like all the best thing for you to work towards. And then, like I said, you get a few laughs and that, so you can just take that one too. Obviously, don't do the best man speech on it, or do.
Yeah.
First opening act as stand-up is my best man speech that no one knows who he is.
Yeah, that's don't do that in front of an audience.
Yeah. Unless you make it more generic enough. But yeah, I'd definitely say it's if you get the opportunity for it, I'd definitely do it.
Yeah.